Welcome to Incomplete Loves, where stories of love, betrayal, and broken trust are shared to touch your heart and open your eyes. I never thought betrayal would slip into my life in such a simple yet devastating way. There's one image burned into my mind forever. Anna's hand, firmly laced with another man's. That single moment froze my world completely. My name is Aaron. I am 34 years old and I work as a software developer. I've always lived a quiet, steady life built on trust and stability. 7 years ago, I married Anna, believing she was my safe place and forever partner. Anna is 32 now, with chestnut brown hair that shines in sunlight and a smile that captures every room. She works in marketing, where her charm and confidence naturally pull people toward her. I was proud to be her husband always. I've always been introverted, the man who prefers quiet nights at home. Anna, on the other hand, thrived on energy, laughter, and new experiences. Together, we balanced each other, her fire softened by my calm steadiness. We often talked about children, but always as a dream for the future. Anna wanted to build her career first, and I respected that choice. I believed our love was strong enough to withstand waiting, no matter how long it took. Our circle of friends included my best friend Alex, my sister Jenna, and Anna's colleague Claire, who often joined us. Everyone adored Anna, sometimes even more than me, but I never felt jealousy. I felt nothing but pride then. The first spark of unease came on a quiet night at an Italian restaurant we both loved. Anna's phone lit up on the table, and instantly she flipped it face down. She smiled at me, but her smile seemed forced, almost rehearsed. I asked who it was, and she laughed, saying it was just Claire checking about work. Her tone was casual, but her hand lingered over the phone for a moment too long. That second etched itself into my memory and stayed with me. After that night, Anna's phone became her closest companion. It was always near, always face down, never left unattended. At night, when we once talked in bed, she now scrolled endlessly on her screen, leaving me in silence. She began wearing a new perfume, floral with a musky edge, something I had never seen her use before. I asked about it once, and she brushed it off, saying Claire recommended it. She kissed my cheek lightly, but doubts remained. I told myself these were coincidences, but small details began to stack. Anna took long walks after dinner, called it me time, and her outfit shifted, polished, deliberate, even on ordinary days, as though chosen for someone else. I remembered our early years, road trips in old cars, nights falling asleep watching sitcoms, whispered promises in the dark. Back then, everything felt natural. Now those memories felt like they belonged to strangers, not us. One evening I sat coding while Anna paced the living room, phone pressed tight to her ear. Her laugh was soft, playful, carrying warmth I hadn't heard in months. When I walked closer, she ended the call quickly, smiling at me. She claimed it was just work, nothing important, but her tone had been intimate. That moment stayed in my head far longer than it should have. My doubts started to grow stronger than the excuses I had been making for her lately. At night, I stared at the ceiling while she scrolled beside me, her face glowing from the phone's light. Our bed, once a sanctuary of closeness, had turned into a silent battlefield. I wanted to reach for her, but fear held me back. One Saturday we went shopping, and I hoped it would bring us closer. Instead, she seemed distracted, her eyes flicking to her phone constantly. Even my jokes, the ones that once made her laugh, only drew shallow smiles from her. At one point, I reached for her hand, craving connection. She pulled away casually, pretending to grab an item from a nearby shelf. My chest ached with the realization that even my touch seemed unwelcome, avoided with practiced ease. What once felt effortless between us now carried weight, as though every smile was forced. Our conversations grew shallow, and I could no longer ignore the growing void. My heart told me she was slipping away, even if I denied it. I wanted to trust Anna, to believe she was still mine, but every sign whispered otherwise. Every laugh on the phone, every secret smile, every vague excuse formed a picture I didn't want to see, but couldn't push away anymore. Then came the Sunday afternoon that destroyed everything I had been fighting so hard not to believe. I was driving downtown, the windows half open, waiting at a red light. Among the crossing crowd, my eyes landed on Anna. There she was, walking with a tall man whose face I didn't know. But what mattered wasn't him. It was her hand, firmly clasped in his, their fingers intertwined like it had always been that way. I felt the air leave my lungs at once. The world blurred, car horns and voices around me faded into silence. My chest hollowed out as I gripped the wheel tight, my heart hammering faster than I could control. In that moment, nothing else around me existed anymore. It wasn't casual, it wasn't friendly, it was intimacy, undeniable and cruel. Their bodies leaned closer, her face tilted toward him, a warm smile across her lips. The kind of smile I hadn't seen directed at me in a long time. In that instant, every doubt became truth. Every late night, every excuse, every secretive glance, all of it came together, painfully clear. The woman I trusted above all else was betraying me in the simplest, cruelest way possible. I sat frozen at that red light, unable to breathe, unable to blink. She didn't see me, didn't even look up once. And as the light turned green and cars honked behind me, I realized nothing in my life would ever be the same again. I didn't slam the brakes. I didn't call her name. I just sat frozen as the truth screamed inside me. My heart pounded so hard I thought I might pass out. Yet I forced my hands to stay steady on the wheel, pretending nothing broke. The man walking beside Anna was tall, dark-haired, with a casual jacket. He leaned toward her like gravity pulled him. They weren't in a rush. They strolled comfortably, fingers laced tightly, as if the whole world was theirs alone. I drove on when the light changed, my chest hollow and my mind buzzing with 1,000 thoughts. I wanted to turn around, to confront them right there in the street, but something inside me whispered to wait. I needed proof, not guesses. That night, Anna came home late, saying she stayed after work to finish a campaign. She kissed me on the cheek, casual as ever, while I stood there stiff, my chest burning with what I'd seen. Her lie rolled off her tongue too easily. I asked if she had eaten already, trying to keep my tone even. She said yes. She grabbed a quick bite with Claire. Her smile didn't waver, but her eyes darted just slightly. I nodded, forcing myself to play along like nothing was wrong. The following days, I paid closer attention. Anna's schedule grew unpredictable. Late nights, sudden meetings, random errands. She claimed it was all work-related, but the excuses stacked up until they formed a pattern too perfect. I started checking small details. Receipts left in her purse, Uber notifications on her phone screen, subtle things she forgot to hide. A couple of times, the rides didn't end near her office, but in unfamiliar neighborhoods instead. One evening, she said she had a client dinner downtown. I offered to drop her off, but she declined quickly, saying it would be embarrassing to arrive with her husband. That single sentence stung like fire, yet I swallowed my anger. I followed her that night, my car trailing a safe distance behind. She didn't notice, too focused on her phone. Instead of heading to a restaurant, she stopped outside a quiet hotel. My pulse spiked as I watched her step inside alone. I parked across the street, heart racing. Minutes later, the tall man from before appeared, entering the same doors casually. My hands trembled on the steering wheel as the truth deepened. I wanted to storm inside, but I froze again. Hours passed before Anna came out, her hair slightly messy, her smile subtle. The man left minutes after, heading in a different direction. I followed her home, every part of me screaming, yet I still lacked the courage to confront her. At home, she slipped into bed, saying she was exhausted from dinner. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a stranger. Her body turned away from me, her breathing steady, while my own heart raced like thunder. The next day, I checked her purse again. Inside, I found a folded receipt from the hotel bar, 2 drinks listed, dated the night before. My chest tightened as I held it, staring at the proof that finally aligned with what I had seen. I kept the receipt hidden, not confronting her yet. Instead, I collected every small piece of evidence. Messages half hidden on her lock screen, sudden showers after late meetings, the faint cologne I didn't recognize on her shirt. Her laughter on the phone returned often, soft and playful. Whenever I entered the room, she ended calls abruptly. I told myself I needed more, something undeniable, because if I confronted too soon, she might twist it as paranoia. One night, she said she had a team celebration. I asked who was going, and she rattled off names quickly, almost rehearsed. But she slipped. She mentioned Claire twice. That stumble alone was enough to tighten the noose of lies. I tracked her location through our shared account on her phone. She thought I had forgotten the feature existed. That night, she wasn't at the bar she claimed. She was in the same hotel district again, the dot glowing like betrayal itself. I drove there quietly, parking 2 streets away. Through the hotel glass, I saw her in the lobby, standing close to him. They laughed together, bodies angled inward, his hand brushing her arm casually, and she didn't pull away once. I snapped a photo on my phone, my hands shaking. It wasn't for revenge, it was for me, for proof that I wasn't imagining all of this. My chest ached as I stared at the photo, my wife smiling at another man the way she once smiled at me. That night, she returned home late again, saying traffic delayed her. She curled into bed without a second glance at me. I watched her sleep peacefully while my mind replayed the image of her in that lobby, laughing with him freely. I started avoiding her touch, testing to see if she noticed. She didn't. Days went by without her reaching for my hand, without her noticing the cold wall I was building. The silence between us grew louder than any fight could be. Even meals became strange. She sat with her phone always near, fingers tapping away, smiling at messages she didn't share. When I asked, she said it was work, but the sparkle in her eyes betrayed her. She wasn't working. She was living a lie. I began piecing a file together, almost like an investigator. Photos, receipts, location history, screenshots of texts she forgot to delete. Each detail was another nail in the coffin of my marriage, and yet I kept collecting quietly. Inside, I wrestled with myself. Was I delaying the inevitable, hoping she'd confess on her own? Or was I terrified of the confrontation, of hearing her say out loud what I already knew? My silence had become my only form of survival. But as the evidence piled up, I realized I was reaching a breaking point. I couldn't continue sleeping beside her while carrying the weight of her betrayal. The truth was clear now, undeniable, and soon I would be forced to act. The weight of the truth had grown unbearable, pressing on my chest every second of the day. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine while Anna carried on as if nothing had changed. My silence was eating me alive. One Friday evening, she dressed up, saying she had a late dinner with colleagues. Her voice was too casual, too smooth, rehearsed like a script. I knew this was the moment. I couldn't let her slip into another night of lies. When she tried to leave, I stopped her at the door. My voice was calm, though inside I shook with rage and hurt. "Who is he, Anna?" I asked. Her eyes widened, her body froze, and for the first time I saw fear flicker across her face. She stammered, claiming not to know what I meant, but her denial sounded hollow. I pulled out the photo on my phone, the one from the hotel lobby. I placed it in her hand. Her fingers trembled, her excuses already failing her lips. Her face drained of color, and she tried to laugh, saying it was innocent, just a colleague. But I held up the receipts, the location logs, each piece of evidence I had gathered. Her lips parted and the lies died before forming words. Finally, she dropped onto the couch, burying her face in her hands. Tears spilled as she whispered, "It wasn't supposed to happen this way." My stomach churned hearing her admit it, my heart breaking as if it hadn't already shattered. I asked her how long, my voice quieter than I expected. She hesitated before answering. "Months." The words sliced through me. Every late night, every excuse, every hollow smile, confirmed with a single crushing admission. She tried to explain, saying she felt lonely, that she missed passion, that it just happened. Each excuse was another slap across my soul. I had given her everything, trust, patience, support, and she gave her heart to someone else. I told her I could forgive almost anything, but not betrayal, not her hand holding his like it once held mine. She begged me to understand, to think of the years we had, but her voice cracked. I had already lost her long before this night. The house felt heavier than ever, silence pressing down between us. I stared at her, this woman I once loved with every part of me, now a stranger wrapped in guilt. My chest ached, but my decision had already been made inside me. I told her I wanted separation. Her tears came harder, her pleas growing desperate, but they no longer reached me. My love had transformed into something colder. Disappointment, betrayal, the end of a chapter I never imagined closing. That night I slept on the couch, staring into the darkness. The smell of her perfume still lingered in the air, mocking me. I realized the home we built together had already been destroyed by her choices long before I confronted her. In the days that followed, we lived in silence. She tried to speak, to patch the pieces together, but trust is not a puzzle you can glue back. Every word she said sounded empty, and every look she gave me only deepened the cracks. Friends and family eventually noticed. I told my sister Jenna first. She listened, holding her hand over her mouth in disbelief. She said she always admired Anna, but never imagined she could betray me like this. I just nodded numbly. Anna moved into a friend's place temporarily, giving me space. The bed felt larger, the house quieter, but also strangely lighter. Pain remained, yes, but so did relief. I didn't have to pretend anymore. I could finally breathe again. Nights were still hard. I replayed memories, hearing her laughter, remembering her touch. But each memory ended with that image of her hand in his. No matter how much I tried, that picture replaced every other moment we ever had. I considered forgiving her once, but forgiveness without trust is nothing but another wound waiting to open. And I knew deep inside I'd never be able to look at her again without seeing betrayal written across her face forever. Divorce papers came weeks later. Signing them felt surreal, like closing a book I had lived in for years. My hand shook, but I signed anyway. Love had died long before ink touched paper, and this was just the final punctuation. Anna cried during our last meeting. She said she regretted everything, that she wished she could take it back. I listened silently, offering no comfort. Regret doesn't erase choices, and her choices had destroyed what we once had. I walked away from that building feeling lighter, though broken. I was no longer carrying the weight of her lies. The road ahead looked uncertain, but at least it was mine to walk now, not poisoned by secrets and betrayal anymore. Some nights I still wonder when exactly I lost her. Was it the moment she first held his hand, or long before, when she started hiding her phone? Maybe the truth is that betrayal begins in silence, not in touch. That silence killed us. I learned that love without honesty is just a shell, a performance doomed to collapse. Anna played her part well until the mask slipped. Once I saw behind it, there was no going back. The trust I gave freely was gone forever. I've stopped asking why. There are no answers that could heal the wound. All I can do now is move forward, carrying the lesson carved into me by heartbreak. Some endings are brutal, but they are also the beginning of survival. I don't know if Anna is still with him, and I no longer care. What matters is that I saw the truth with my own eyes, undeniable and sharp. That truth freed me from the chains of a love that no longer existed, only lies pretending. Trust once broken doesn't heal the same way. If someone lies once, they might do it again. And ignoring red flags only makes them brighter until you can't avoid them. And that was Aaron's story of trust broken and love lost. Sometimes betrayal hides in the smallest gestures until the truth can no longer stay hidden. What would you do if you were in Aaron's place? Tell us in the comments below. For more heartbreaking and powerful stories, subscribe to Incomplete Loves and never miss an update.